Dear students, this is a tutorial on Python Pandas data frame for absolute beginners. Pandas is a fast, powerful, flexible, and easy to use open source data analysis and manipulation tool built on top of the Python programming language. In this tutorial, we will use a comma-separated value file, that is a CSV file, and the link of this file is mentioned in the description of this video. From this link, you can download this CSV file. At first, we import pandas using the import statement. To import pandas, we need to write down the command import pandas as pd. So this will import pandas in our workspace. Now we will read a CSV file using the pandas read CSV method. This will read a comma separated values CSV file into a data frame, and we name the data frame as df. So here is the command df, that is the name of the data frame, then pd dot read CSV, read underscore CSV, and within round brackets you need to mention the name of the file that you want to read, and you need to mention the name of the file within single quotes or double quotes. Here I am using single quotes, and the name of the file is customers.csv. You can download this CSV file from the link mentioned in the description of this video. Now the CSV file is read into a data frame, and the name of the data frame is df here. We can use the type function available in Python to know the data type of the df variable, like this, type within round brackets df. As you can see, it shows pandas core frame data frame. So the type of the df variable is pandas data frame. We can know the number of rows and columns available in the data frame df using the shape attribute of df, like this, df.shape. Shape is an attribute, and this gives us the shape of the data frame, that is the number of rows and the number of columns. So here you can see we have 250 rows and 5 columns in the input CSV file. The name of the CSV file is customers.csv. Note that columns represent the attributes. Since we have 250 rows, therefore we will be interested to show the initial few rows of the data frame df. We can use the head method for this. So df.head, here head is a method that shows the initial 5 rows of the data frame df. Here we can see we have 5 columns. These 5 columns are customer ID, gender, age, annual salary in $1000, spendings in the range 1 to 100, and these values 0, 1 up to 4 represent the indices of the corresponding rows. Similarly, if we want to show the last 5 rows of df, we can use the tail method. The purpose of these two methods, namely head and tail, is to look into the input data. Therefore, to print the last 5 entries, the last 5 rows of df, we can write the command like this, df.tail. So tail is also a method like head. Here you can see the last 5 rows of the data frame df. There is a method known as info, which provides a summary of the input CSV file. So df.info, remember that info is a method. This shows the summary of the input CSV file, and here you can see the summary. So range index start from 0 to 249, therefore 250 entries are there. This denotes the number of rows. We have 5 columns, and the name of the columns are written here: customer ID, gender, age, annual salary in $1000, spendings in the range 1 to 100. It also gives you the number of non-null value, and in all the cases it shows 250 non-null values. Therefore, the CSV file does not contain any null value. The data type of each of the attribute is also mentioned under the dtype column here. So customer ID has the int64 data type. The data type of gender is shown as object. It mainly refers to string. Age, annual salary and spendings all are integer data types. And here is the summary of the different type of data types present in the input CSV file. We have 4 attributes having int64 data type, and we have 1 attribute having object data type. And the amount of memory uses, that is also mentioned in kilobytes. Around 10 kilobytes memory are used for this CSV file. Now I will show you how to extract the column names, that is the attribute names, from a data frame. For that you can use the attribute columns. So df is your data frame and df.columns, here columns is an attribute of the data frame df, which returns the column names or attributes of the data frame df. Similarly, you can also extract the row indices of the data frame. For that you need to write down the command df.index. Here index is an attribute of the data frame df. When you execute this command, you can see the range index. It starts with 0, stopped at 250 and step is 1. df.index gives you the range index. That means the indices used by the rows in the data frame df. Sometimes we want to retrieve the row values only without having the column names and the row indices from a data frame. We can easily save the content of the rows of a data frame in a NumPy array using values attribute of data frame. For that we need to write down df.values. This will return a NumPy array. df.values returns a NumPy array which contains only the contents of the rows without having the column names and row indices. This attribute values of a data frame is very useful when we want to extract only the values of the rows, but we are not interested with the attribute names, that is the column names and the row indices of the data frame. Now if we want to know the data types of columns, that is the data types of attributes, that can be done using this command df.dtypes. Here dtypes is also an attribute of the data frame df. This returns all the data types of the columns. Now I will discuss about subsetting. This is an important concept. Using subsetting we can retrieve one or more columns from a given data frame. For example, if we want to retrieve the age column from the df data frame, we can do this using subsetting the corresponding column. Suppose age is a variable in which we want to save the corresponding column named as age. For that we need to write down df within square brackets, under single quotes or double quotes you need to write down the corresponding column name, and here the column name is age. Now if you want to know the type of the variable age, it will show you pandas core series because it is a pandas series. Now if you want to check first few entries of this age variable which is a pandas series, you can use the head method like this. So here you can see it gives you the initial 5 values of the pandas series age. Now instead of pandas series, if we want to get pandas data frame, then we need to pass a list like this. So here in this case we are getting a pandas series, but if we want to get a pandas data frame, for that we need to pass the column name within a list. So here you can see I have used extra square brackets. So now this gives me a pandas series. You can check this using the type function. Type age shows pandas core frame data frame. So now age is a pandas data frame. Again, using the head method, you can check the first 5 rows of the age data frame. So here you can see the same values like earlier it written here, but now age is a pandas data frame instead of pandas series variable. Now we will learn how to drop one or more columns from a given data frame. The drop method can be used for this. This takes a list containing the names of the columns which we want to drop. Suppose we want to create a new data frame and the name of the data frame is df_drop, and this data frame is created after dropping the gender and the age columns from the df data frame. So for that we need to write down df.drop. Within round brackets we need to pass the column names as a list. That's why here I have also used square brackets to represent a list, and within the list we need to mention the column names. We want to drop the gender column and we also want to drop the age column. The name of the columns can be written either using single quotes or double quotes. So this will drop the 2 columns from the df data frame. The columns are gender and age, and this reduced data frame will be saved as df_drop, which is a new data frame. And you also need to mention another parameter value, that is axis, and axis must be set to columns, otherwise you will get error. Now you can also check the type of this new variable df_drop using the type function. As you can see, it shows pandas data frame. You can check the first 5 rows of this new data frame using the head method like this: df_drop.head. Head is a method and this returns the initial 5 rows of the new df_drop data frame. And here you can see the age and the gender column are missing. Now I will show you how to get a row from a data frame. We can do this using subsetting rows. Suppose we want to get the first row from the data frame df. For that we need to write down df.log. Within square brackets we need to mention the index value of the first row, and here as you can see the index value of the first row is 0, so we need to write down 0 here, and this will return me a pandas series containing the information from the first row of the data frame df. Note that if we use a single pair of square brackets, then it will return a pandas series like this. Here I have used a single pair of square brackets, so that's why it returns a pandas series. If we want to return a pandas data frame, we need to use 2 pairs of square brackets like this: df.log. We need to use a square bracket, and within the square bracket we need to mention the value of the row index, that is 0 in this case. So now you can see you are getting a pandas data frame. In Jupyter Lab or Jupyter Notebook, pandas data frame are shown in a lucrative way. However, to return more than one row, we always need to use 2 pairs of square brackets like this. Suppose now we want to return the first row and the second row, then we need to use 2 pair of square brackets like this: 0, that is the index value of the first row, and 1, that is the index value of the second row in this example. So here you can see it always returns a pandas data frame. Now I will show you how we can do subsetting of rows using iloc. In case of loc, the row indices are checked to find a match to the given indices. In the case of iloc, the index positions need to be mentioned. Consider this example: df.iloc And now instead of passing the value of the row indices, I am passing the index positions instead. So the index position of the first row is 0, the index position of the second row is 1, and the index position of the last row is -1. So this will return the first row, the second row, and the last row. As here you can see the first row, the second row, and the last row. We cannot use -1 in case of df.log because there is no row index in df having the value -1. As we have seen earlier, the row index values start from 0 and ends with 249. So this is the main difference between log and ilog. In case of log, we need to use the row index values, but in case of ilog, we need to use the position of the row index. Now I will show you how to subsetting columns. Suppose we want to create a new data frame df_subset, and this new data frame will only consist of the annual salary in $1000 and the spendings columns. For that we need to write down df log, and then we need to mention the column names. You can use either single quotes or double quotes while specifying the column names. Here I am using single quotes, and you want to select all the rows, that's why here I have written a colon. Now if you want to know the initial 5 rows of this new data frame df_subset, we can use the head method, and this will return the initial 5 rows of the new data frame df_subset. In this example you cannot use ilog because ilog takes index position, not the index labels or values. You can create the same data frame using the ilog method also, but for that you need to use the position of the columns. So you need to pass within the square brackets the position of the two corresponding columns 3 and 4 respectively, and this will also create the same data frame. And you can check the initial 5 rows using the head method. So as you can see here, you are getting the same data frame in both the cases. Now we will see how to select the rows with specific gender such as male. For that we need to write down df.log. Within the square bracket you need to write down df, and again within the square bracket you need to mention the column name, that is gender, and the value of this gender in this case is male. So here you can see it returns the rows from the data frame df where the gender is equal to male, and here we can see we have 111 such rows out of 250 rows in the data frame df. Now suppose we want to retrieve those rows for which the gender is equal to male and age is greater equal to 60. So we can write down similar thing here also, df within square bracket age, that is the name of the corresponding column in the data frame df, and the condition is greater equal to 60. And since here we are using two conditions, we need to pass these two conditions within the round brackets like this. And here you can see this returns those rows for which gender is equal to male and age is greater equal to 60. We have only few such rows in the data frame df. In the following example, it is shown how to compute the means of gender and age columns of the input data frame df using the aggregate function. Here we have used numpy's min function. Any user defined functions can also be used. Since we will use the numpy's min function, we need to import the numpy. For that we need to write down the command like this, import numpy as np, and we need to write down the command like this, df.groupby, and within the round brackets we need to mention the column name, and here the column name is gender, and then we need to mention the column name for which we will apply the min function, and here the column name is age, and then we apply the aggregate function, and in this case we are using the numpy's min function. We can use our own functions also. So here you can see, based on the different values under the gender column, that is female and male, the corresponding mean of age column is shown here. So the average or the mean age of female is around 39 years, 39.27, and for male 40.20. Now we will compute the mean of annual salary and spendings columns using aggregate function, and here we will use numpy's min function as above, and then apply the group by based on gender and age. Here we can see it returns the above statement. After execution, returns 93 rows where the gender is grouped under female and male, and again they are grouped under age values, and the mean of annual salary and spendings are returned. We can also use the standard deviation STD, and this will return the standard deviations of annual salary and spending columns. But in this case you are getting some nan value also. Now one thing you can notice that in both these examples we are not getting a regular data frame. To get a regular data frame we need to use the reset index so that we get back the regular indices. So here I have written the same code, and at the end to get back the regular data frame indices we need to use the reset underscore index method. So now here you can see we are getting a regular data frame with regular index values. The same thing can be done for the second example also, where we have used numpy's standard deviation function STD. So to get the regular row index values we need to use the reset index method as shown here. So this is the end of this video lecture. Please subscribe my channel, like the video and share. Bye.